What a strange week I seem to be having. After publishing the Urban Myths Anthology review a couple of days ago, all of a sudden this one came up, Let It Ghost, the Hong Kong anthology movie. And I thought, oh my God, do I watch two anthology movies, my most hated horror genre, in 1 week? And I thought, well, since Urban Myths wasn't too bad, and it was, you should really check it out, maybe Let It Ghost will be half decent. However, it's from Hong Kong, and lately their movie output, let alone their horror anthology output, hasn't been that great. But everything's worth checking out. Hi, I'm the Artie Dance from the new Shock Mania YouTube channel, also from the Artie Dance and Asian Film Fans channels, and I welcome you to this review of the Hong Kong comedy horror anthology. Now, there's 3 words that should not go together. Let It Ghost. Now, let's check out what this one is about, and because it's 3 tales, I'll tell you what each story is about. Also, keep an eye out on all the characters because they make cameo appearances in each other's episodes. So, they are Haunted Prison. An actor turns up to the set at midnight to shoot a scene of his latest TV drama that involves his character, the incarcerated detective, helping a female ghost receive justice. There's just one problem. It appears the crew hired an actual ghost to play the role. Haunted Industrial Building. A taxi driver decides to book a staycation for his girlfriend at what he thinks is a luxury location to fix their troubled relationship, but they end up in the party room at an industrial site. However, there's a spirit who lives in the room and it possesses his girlfriend, turning her into a horny vixen. And Haunted Shopping Mall. On the eve of the closure of a rundown shopping mall, the remaining tenants of floor 3 try to help out the ghost of a little girl who lives there to find a family for her body to be reborn in. I really can't believe I'm saying this again, but I think I might have enjoyed this film. But there's always some buts when it comes to stuff like this. Now, this is a comedy horror anthology, as I already mentioned before reading out the plot. So this is a little bit unlike Urban Myths, or like it, but really unlike it. Urban Myths had 10, and they were short stories. This goes for the traditional 3 stories. And so the aim of this movie, or what we get with this movie, it doesn't have those strong horror elements. It has the typical Hong Kong humor. So for the most part, that silly, overacting slapstick style that is more common from the 70s and 80s type movie. There's a fair bit of that here, especially in the first story. So if you're kind of to that, well, that's in this film. And by virtue of this being from One Cool Pictures, which is, the great man Louis Koo's production company, it means that the cast is mostly up-and-coming Hong Kong actors, which is great. Finally, we're getting some brand new talent into Hong Kong cinema. And that's a good thing. We know that's a good thing. Now, I've recognized some of the characters, or the actors, from movies such as Shockwave 2 and Sugar Street Studio, which is another really great Hong Kong horror movie. It's a comedy, unfortunately, but it's a really great comedy horror movie. It's not an anthology that I think you should check out. That's really good. Also, to fill out the cast, supposedly there's a lot of YouTubers and influencers here. Now, I don't recognize them. I'm not into Hong Kong social media. But if you are heavily into that kind of culture, you might recognize some of the other actors in this film from popular YouTube or Instagram stuff. Now, the stories are also interesting. Surprise, surprise. And some of them even have an element of urban myth to them, like Urban Myths. Or at least fantasy. Fantasy definitely with that second story. I think every guy wants a horny girlfriend, right? But perhaps not to the level that's shown in this film. And while I think they're written in such a way that they make really great short stories and combine together for a really good anthology film. Oh, I hate saying that. None of these stories would do well as a long feature-length movie. And again, unlike Urban Myths that had quite a couple of good stories that I thought would turn really well into long movies, I don't think this one does. Now, also, the second story has a really interesting commentary on the modernization of Hong Kong society versus the traditional Chinese values. So, and the And then it kind of ends with a bit of a really funny, hilarious kind of subversion of that commentary. So it's, of the three stories, that's the funnier one. And surprise, surprise, it'd be the weakest one if to turn into a full-length film. Now, it's good to see Hong Kong still trying to keep their film industry alive. There's been a lot of co-productions and a lot of mainland money that has come in that has really diluted the type of films that we get from Hong Kong. Those big bombastic action films, those really funny sex comedies, and those really scary horrors. Those are the three genres that have really suffered with the influx of the mainland coming in and taking away those elements because the Chinese government doesn't allow those for film. So what we get is these very nuded down movies where you got really good quality. What's the word I'm looking for? really perfect good guys, really bad guys, and there's no in the middle. And of course, you can't have horror. So this, of the anthology movies that have been made lately in Hong Kong, and for some reason I seem to be checking them out a lot, things like Coffin Homes and Tales from the Occult, this movie's better than those two. And that's my opinion. Some people actually really like Coffin Homes, and that's good if you do. I don't. But I think this movie is better than those two. So it's funny. I've seen two anthology movies this week, and I've enjoyed them both. But if I was to choose between the two, I would definitely choose Urban Myths, only because it takes that more traditional horror out and doesn't take the comedy element. But if you miss Hong Kong and you want a bit of comedy, then definitely check out Let It Ghost. Using the Great Horror or Stupid Trash rating, the Ghost rating, I will give this 3 ghosts, just like I did with Urban Myths. It's not a bad film, which is really nice to say about an anthology movie and about a modern Hong Kong horror movie. There's something enjoyable here. It's not perfect, but there's something enjoyable here. And I think you'll find something fun in this film. I've been the Artie Dance, and I thank you for watching this review. If you've seen the movie, let me know what you think in the comments below. Otherwise, just leave a comment in general. Tell me if there's another anthology movie that perhaps I haven't looked at that you'd like me to check out, that you think is good, that might change my mind about the whole genre. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next video review we do. Thanks, everyone.